my britches? If you are new here, hello, my name is Brittany, and today we are covering my favorite eyeshadow palettes that you can get at Sephora because the Sephora sale starts tomorrow for Rouge members. I've been posting on TikTok, like each category, which like all of my product recommendations. I did a full face of recommendations yesterday if you guys want to check that out. I have a whole dedicated playlist of Sephora content. It's a thing around here. We love Sephora. We love the Sephora VIB sale. Who's ready to shop the sale tomorrow? Or I'm sure you guys have seen all the dates. I forgot to link them down below, but depending on what your status is with Sephora, hopefully y'all can find a friend that's a Rouge, because that's a new thing this year, that the Rouge can pass on their 20% to a friend. So, like I said, today we're covering eyeshadow palettes. So if you love an eyeshadow palette, if you're bougie and are splurging during the sale, I need to know, what are you getting? What palettes are on your list? Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up or thumbs it down. That's cool too. And I see all the britches coming in the live chat. What's good? What's poppin'? I am so excited. I'm so excited for the sale. I'm excited I can go in store tomorrow. I don't even have my list of stuff put together yet, so I need to figure that shit out. So I have all of my palettes in front of me. I do have some honorable mentions in the event that they come back at Sephora, because I was putting like all the links in the description box and I realized that one of the palettes was no longer on there. So I still want to mention it in case it does come back, but I'm going to cover my top 10 right now. And they're not in any particular order. I'm just telling you all the ones that I love. And you're going to hear exactly why I love them, and I'll show them to you, and it's just a thing, okay? So let's dive into the first palette. Keep in mind my preferences, the color stories that I like. I'm a basic bitch when it comes to eyeshadow palettes. So on my channel, you really don't see like super colorful eyeshadow palettes. That's just really not my wheelhouse. But I love basic bitch palettes. I love palettes that suit my green eyes. I just want you to be aware that, you know, that's a thing to also consider. And again, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on any of these products. I'm sure the chat would appreciate that as well. And let's dive in. Okay, first one I have on my list for favorite palettes at Sephora, it's the Huda Beauty, the Rose Quartz palette. This is mainly one of my favorites from Huda because packaging, love it. I think it's super beautiful, but I love this color story and I love the metallic formula. I still have yet to try Mercury Retrograde, but this one, it's a relatively new palette. It's got the really beautiful like variety of textures. This is just overall a color story. I'm fucking here for it. I love quality eyeshadows. I love super pigmented eyeshadows, and I love just these basic bitch color stories. So packaging always gets a plus for me, which I really think that she does these big palettes extremely well. The quality is just like tip top for me. So I really do enjoy this one. I haven't gotten a ton of use out of like all these palettes because I'm constantly trying out new ones and I only have 2 eyes. Okay. So next one I have is the Patrick Ta, the Major Dimension eyeshadow palette for like, this was the first one. So I saw that he has another one of these palettes coming out, and of course I'm going to try to get it because this is another basic bitch color story, but this is one of my favorite color stories for like spring, summer. It's bronzy, it's incredible quality, it's got these really unique textures for his metallics. I just think this palette was extremely well done, and my favorite thing, shockingly, about this palette is these cream eyeshadows. I honestly would buy a Patrick Ta cream eyeshadow palette. There's something about these ones that last insanely well on me, and the quality of these eyeshadows work so well on top of those creams. I'm not typically a cream eyeshadow type of gal, not on a day-to-day basis, but there's just something about these, and the shades of these are spectacular. The metallic formula isn't my all-time favorite, but there's something about like when the sunlight hits it, it's almost like a basic bitch editorial type of palette. There's just something very special, I think, when you put these on your eyes. You could tell it's just super sparkly. It's almost like the Patrick Ta effect. I feel like he has just a very unique way of doing makeup. I don't know, it's just like a thing, I guess. But this packaging I also really love. It does get very dirty, but I just love the overall aesthetic of Patrick Ta. So this is one of my favorite palettes, especially since it's like bronzy, super warm. This just screams like summertime. I don't know why, it just does for me. So then I feel like I was one of the few people that was really hyping this palette up for, like, when it first came out. Over time, more people started talking about it, and I'm like, fucking finally, because Artist Couture Supreme Nudes, this was one of my favorite palettes for the longest time, and it's because of this eyeshadow right here. Like, this eyeshadow here, this green, this is like a perfect basic bitch palette. It's got everything that you would need, and this gives me, like, what was it? When Anastasia Beverly Hills collaborated with Makeup by Mario, you guys remember that palette? This is like the same type of color story, except I think that this quality is better. I love this palette. I wish he would do more of these eyeshadows because they're super blinding. They're super metallic. This overall was just like a staple palette in my collection. It's been a while since I've used this. But another one, packaging always gets me. It's just, it's sleek. It's really well done. And I think that these palettes are the best bang for your buck, just in general. Since you get 12 eyeshadows, like he does like the smaller palettes, but I don't think those are as good of quality. These palettes are bomb. And I'm going to stick with Artist Couture again because he later came out with the Supreme Bronze. And I think out of both of them, I'm going to knock everything over right now. I think out of both of them, this is the one that's most appealing to me for spring and summer because that's how I personally prefer to shop the spring sale. Like, I prioritize products that I would prefer for this time of the year because when the fall sale comes around, I can get the more fall appropriate type of like color stories, products. That's just how I am. I heavily associate with my makeup with like the time of the year. So, Supreme Bronze is another super beautiful palette. I just think this one is so different. Like, having this, like, hot orange in here, I got such a, like, I haven't really used this palette a ton, but the looks that I get when I use this palette come out so beautiful. But my main thing that I love about this is, even though I love the original Supreme Nudes, I feel like this, if it had that green in there, like, I feel like I could have taken out, like, one of these golds, and if it had that green in there, it would have been, like, the most perfect palette. Like, I say that because everybody loves a green eyeshadow, right? At least I do. But I feel like these two shades could potentially be like, no, I don't need it. Like, people would see it and be like, nah, I don't need that. Because the gold, I think, stands out so much. But when you really look at the color story, you've got warmth, you've got neutral, but you also have this row of coolness. Like I said, it's just like a perfectly well-rounded palette. I just think the initial, when you look at it, it's very overpowered by like the bright orange and the bright yellow. If it had that green, I think it would have had that balance, and it just would have made it even more perfect. But my favorite eyeshadow in this palette is the shade Glisten. I love eyeshadows like this. The formula is incredible. But in this palette, unlike the first one, like that opulent shade I was talking about earlier, that's the only thing that the Supreme Bronze is missing. Like, I wish he would do more metallics in that formula because I feel like that's what really blew me away with the, like, the original one. So either way, Artist Couture palettes I think are fantastic, especially the 12 pans. The other ones I think are an easy pass. The quality's not as good, like I said earlier, but I still really love those palettes, and I will not declutter them because I love them that much. So, moving on, let's talk about Pat McGrath really quick. If you were wondering, because we recently had like a 50% off sale that I like lost my shit, I blacked out, I bought every single Mothership palette, and I received my box today. I haven't opened it yet, so I don't know what's in there, but I'm so fucking hyped that the glitch actually fucking worked. Like, I cannot believe it. But this is one brand I tell everybody I would recommend not shopping during the VIB sale. But there's one product I would consider getting, and that's going to be the first one that I'm going to talk about, which is the Bridgerton palette. The reason I say this one would be worth getting during the VIB sale is because this one usually does not qualify on the Pat McGrath site when she does like 25 or 30% off. That's the biggest reason why I suggest people skipping Pat McGrath during the sale, because she always has sales on her site. So this one, I fucking love this palette. I was not expecting, like, if you've been on my channel for any amount of time, you know I'm not the biggest fan of Pat McGrath eyeshadows, like, especially the matte formula. I think her, like, special shades are beautiful. I just always think that, you know, they're almost, like, too expensive for what you get type of thing. I like the packaging, like, there's certain things that I like, but it's the fact that they always go on sale is what kind of shies me away. You know what I'm saying? So with this palette, I love it mainly because I could use this as a face and an eyeshadow palette. So with this one, this shade as a blush, oh my gosh, I fucking love this shade. This one for me, I just think it's beautiful. So I could use both of these as blushes. I could use this as a face highlight. It's just such a good palette for me to have. I think this like packaging is super cute. And the fact that I could get 20% off on it, you know, it would definitely be worth it for me because it's usually, what, $65? I do think that it could have been done better, like as far as being like a Bridgerton collection, but that's not what we're discussing today. This is, I think, one of the best palettes for me that I could get at Sephora. I really, really love this one. But if you were to ask me, Brittany, what's your favorite Mothership palette? I'm going to say, well, I only have 2 as of right now, but now I should have them all. So if you would like me to do like a ranking later on, let me know. But I did really enjoy this Utopian Dream palette. I think these eyeshadows right here are what sell this palette to me. Do I think it's worth $120 something? No. But at like 25-30% off, absolutely. But I'm still going to classify this as one of the best palettes at Sephora because I even felt like with the mattes in this palette, they cooperated quite a bit better than what I've typically tried, like with the Divine Rose 2. There was something about the Divine Rose 2 that they didn't really blend that well, whereas with this palette, I had a lot better luck with it. And I think I just overall like the color story better, but these shades, though, they're fucking gorgeous. I'm not going to lie. They're beautiful. So this one, I still think that it would be worthwhile at 20% off, but I probably would strongly suggest, like, just wait for a Pat McGrath sale, you know? So I do really like this packaging as well. That's just my take on Pat McGrath. Take it for what you will. Let me swatch these eyeshadows, because how do you not? Oh, bitch. Like, these are the shades. This is why I bought all the palettes at $47, because I'm like, these shades are worth it. It's the mattes that I'm like, at least from what I've tried. So we shall see. Maybe as I try like the other like Mothership palettes, I'll feel differently about them. But so far, I'm just like, this one. This is a good one. And I really like the overall aesthetic of this. Like, this is just like a vibe. I love it. So now we have the brand. If I'm going to say, if you were to ask me, Brittany, what brand should I shop for eyeshadow palettes? I'm going to tell you 100% Natasha Denona. Just because Natasha Denona doesn't have sales that much. There are some sales from time to time, but I feel like you're not going to get more than 20% off. And in my humble opinion, this is the best formula at Sephora. Just saying. I just realized I did not pull out Metropolis, but there's a reason. I still love Metropolis, but I reach for that palette far more in the fall winter time. Still highly recommend it though. But this is where I focus these for like spring, summer. So I have to mention, I'm kind of torn on this one because I love all of these palettes, but if I had to pick a favorite color story, I think I would go for retro. For some reason, I love like berries, burgundies. I love everything about this palette. And I think it's like the depth that you get with this palette for having like burgundies and the fact that they're good quality. Because these are the shades that are usually very difficult to find, like actually good quality. Like usually shades like this are patchy is what I'm trying to say. So when I saw this, I about lost my fucking shit. Because I'm like, this is gorgeous. I love this. This is everything. This is, in my humble opinion, one of the best, like, bridal/bridal party palettes. I would use the shit out of this on a bridal party. This I wore for, like, every single... Because I'm a wedding videographer, if you didn't know. I wore this for so many weddings and got so many compliments. Like, I'm sitting there videoing a wedding, and people are like, oh my god, your eyeshadow's so pretty. You know, it's just one of those things that sticks out in my mind so much. And I think this just screams, like, bridal. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. If you like that type of color story, retro, I would highly recommend. I really like the glam palette as well. Like, I really love all of my Natasha Denona palettes. I want to make that perfectly clear. That's why I say if you're shopping one brand, it's Natasha Denona, in my opinion, like I said. But it just depends on the color story that is most appealing to you. I should do like a Natasha Denona palette ranking. That would be interesting. Next one, this is very special to me, and it's a color story I fucking adore. And this one, it was gifted to me, which is why it's so special to me. I wanted this palette for the longest time. It's basic in all the best ways, but this is one where I'm like, okay, it's basic, but you hear so many people rave about it, and I never realized why until I actually had it. So this was one, again, it's basic. That's the only way to describe it. It's literally the most basic color story of all time. But there's something about this formula that is different than pretty much all the other Natasha Denona palettes I have tried. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like a mental bias thing, but it seems like these are creamier, they're blendable, like everything about, like this is another bridal. If I were to get married tomorrow again, I would wear most likely this palette because I think that it's just perfect. It's literally the most perfect neutral palette I have ever seen. And the fact that it's so like near and dear to my heart, I have such a special place for this palette now. So Biba will forever be a recommendation. But I also have to mention these because I initially was not going to purchase these, and then I saw them in store, and I'm like, okay, this packaging is fire. Hot fire. One of my favorite packagings that Natasha Denona has done, in my opinion. So I did a dedicated video comparing these. I did the light version on one side, the deep version on the other. I'm recommending both. I personally would buy this solely for these eyeshadows because, in my opinion, there's something very different about the metallics in comparison to any metallic that I have seen Natasha Denona do, at least that I've come across. The highlighter in these palettes are beautiful. I'm just not the biggest fan of Natasha Denona's like it's cream to powder cheek formula. I just am not a fan. So these, like, if you had to ask me like which my preference is, the lighter or the deep version, I personally prefer the deep version. But if you ask people their opinion, people liked this better on me. So it all comes down to personal preference. I just think that these eyeshadows, they're true. Like, these are what sold this palette to me. I'm like, these are way more vibrant. They're way more shiny. They've got a little sparkle to them. I was just like, oh shit, I fucking need these. And I bought them both, like, on a total whim. I forget what it was, why I was in Sephora. Like, I think it was a sale or something. But I was like, yep, wasn't going to get either one, and I ended up buying both. And I came home later that day and did a comparison video because I felt froggy, apparently. So I have one more palette to mention that is included in my top 10. Again, since we're done with Natasha Denona, I want to just reiterate, I would recommend any palette. I did want to pull this one out. I was going to mention this in the recommendations, but I haven't had a chance to try it yet. But this one, I'm like, I can't say if it's good or not. I can't because I haven't used it. But this, in my opinion, would be a perfect palette to grab for spring and summer. Like, if you like colorful makeup, just knowing Natasha Denona formulas, the packaging is super cute on this. The color story, if you're into, like, a bright, vibrant color story, this is available now at Sephora. And to get that 20% off on a brand new palette would be huge. Literal honorable mention with that one. But if you're wondering the palette that's on the eyeballs today, I just saw this come on Sephora last night and I was hyped because I'm like, yes! I could try it before my video and I could hopefully put this in my recommendation. So keep in mind, I've only used this one time. But I know this brand has incredible quality eyeshadows. I feel like they're insanely slept on. I buy every single palette that they launch now that is like a bigger palette. Not really the quads. I buy the bigger palettes. So this is the Nars, the Summer Unrated Eyeshadow Palette. Packaging, love it. Color story, I love this even more though. That's what I'm wearing today. So if you look at the palette, you probably wouldn't guess that this is what I'm wearing, but that's what I love about it. It's basic, but it's got like your neutrals. You could go like orangey, like this is super summery and pretty. You could go like purples with this one. I love the texture of Nars eyeshadows, especially like especially like the shade that's on my lids today, there's just something about these formulas that is so beautiful. I always say like Scott Barnes. There's something about Scott Barnes that I think is so special. This has that similar effect. It kind of gives me like the same vibe, but gorgeous. Everything that I used today blended out super easy. Just like a palette I could look at. I don't have to think too much about it, and I'm just biased, okay? I'm biased because I love this palette, okay? That's it. So, with that being said, since I love this palette so much, when I purchased this palette, I was actually sent another one by mistake. So, today's video, we're doing a giveaway, baby, to enter to win one of these palettes. I'm going to announce the winner probably tonight, so that way if you want it, you'll know ahead of time, like, if, you know, if you've won the palette or not. So, I'm just going to go by who comments on this video before midnight tonight, because I know I'm going to be up shopping at midnight. So once the clock hits midnight, everything's going to close out. This is open internationally. I'm good with it. So all you have to do is after this video ends, you have to just comment down below your top recommended eyeshadow palette, okay? Top recommended, and a palette that's on your wish list, and also the best way to contact you, whether it's Instagram, whether it's email, leave it down below. If for some reason it doesn't work in the comments, DM me on Instagram. That's the only thing that I could figure out how to actually like be in contact with people. Because sometimes when you post links and stuff, it doesn't work. Either way, I want to do this giveaway. That way, if anybody wants to get it for the sale, maybe they won't have to buy it, you know? So again, leave a comment down below, your top recommended palette, a palette that's on your list, and the best way to contact you, and it will close tonight. I'm going to say 11:59 p.m. so that way I can announce it like right shortly after before I go to sleep. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, I hope you did. These are all of my recommendations. One more honorable mention. Gosh dang it. I don't even know where I put it. It was the Charlotte Tilbury like Smoky Eyes Are Forever palette, but it's no longer on the website. If you happen to see it in store though, where did I put it? I said it. Oh, here it is. This palette. I had this in my top 10 because I've heard, I don't know, like I saw it on the website before. I didn't hear nothing. But in my opinion, this was the closest thing to the Fire Rose 2 as far as quality eyeshadows. So if you happen to see this in store, I think that it's personally worth getting the 20% off. But, I mean, the Nars kicked that right off. So it's still a great palette, but that's just my humble opinion. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. Like the video, subscribe if you're new. I hope, you know, you guys have a great shopping day. Friendly reminder as well before we leave for today. Make sure you guys, if you're shopping online, use your favorite creators' affiliate links in our description boxes. I have the affiliate links down below. All you have to do is click the link and go directly. It takes you directly to Sephora's website. You shop, you check out, and it tracks it for you. So it's basically just a free way to support your favorite creators. Obviously, I would love it if you guys would support my channel, but I would recommend if you have a video that you see and it helps you make a decision or whatever the case is, it's as simple as clicking the link, and that's all that you got to do. It's a free way to help your favorite creators. Like I said, everything is linked down in the description box. If you're shopping my links, I do appreciate it so much because it allows me to buy all this shit to review it for you guys. So again, like the video, subscribe for more, and good luck to all that enter in the giveaway. Happy shopping, baby! I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!